Namaste, welcome to Sharat Chandra IAS Academy. Today we are going to discuss about a current affair topic which is very important for international relations and GS2 and GS3. So as you see here, it is the topic about the geopolitical tensions that are arising in the Arctic region. So as I said before, it is related to international relations and GS2 and GS3. So as we move on, this Arctic region. So why this Arctic region is being in news? So as you see here, the Arctic is becoming geopolitical hotspot. So the Arctic is becoming the geopolitical hotspot. So why it is becoming geopolitical hotspot is that due to melting of ice, opening up new trade routes and access to untapped resources. Due to climate change, there is a melting of ice in the Arctic region. So for that, the melting of ice, it created new open trade routes and the resources which are undiscovered also being discovered right now. So as we move forward, why this Arctic actually matters? Why this geopolitical hotspot? Why it is becoming geopolitical hotspot? Why these resources has been, which is having greater importance? As you see here, so it has a strategic location near major powers. As you see. As you see, it is a strategic location. Why? Because this could be an Arctic region where here it could be USA and here could be Russia and here some of the NATO countries. So major powers of the world have been situated near this Arctic region and it has natural resources. So the Arctic region contains 13% of world undiscovered oil and 30% of natural gas according to US Geological Survey 2009. So, and it also paving way for new trade routes like Northern Sea Route and environmental role in climate regulations. Due to climate change, there could be a change in weather patterns and there could be a change in weather circulations and everything. So this, and it is a home for indigenous community and flora and fauna. And after understanding why it is important, it is better to know that what's happening in this Arctic region. So after understanding why Arctic is matter, and we need to understand what's happening in this Arctic region actually. So as you see here, there is a rising tensions between Russia, NATO and Russia wars and increased military presence and exercises like US military. So after understanding why Arctic region is very important, it is also very important to understand why this what happening in this Arctic is also very important. As you see here, there is a rising tensions between NATO and Russia after the post-Ukraine war and increased the military presence in this region. So, recent days, there is an increasing presence of global powers like USA, Russia, China in this region. So, after this presence of these countries creating geopolitical tensions in the recent present. So, increased military presence, as I said before, increased military presence, and you can also see that this USA had its military base called Pacific in this Arctic region only. And when it's come to Russia, Russia is the most technology and advanced country in the Arctic region. It is also having some nuclear projects here, and China also competing. Not only USA and Russia, China is also competing because it also declared China polar superpower. So, and melting of ice. So, currently the melting of ice created new trade routes and military routes. So, this will discuss what is the role of India and how India would tackle all these things. As we see why Arctic is matters a lot. So, and after that, what are the new trade routes? Because of melting ice, there is a formation of new trade routes, right? So, what would be the new trade routes? As you see here, Northern Sea Route and Northern West Passage, all the trade dynamics. Because of these new trade routes, there is shortening of trade routes because it become now easy. It become easy for the traders and shipments. So actually, if you want to go from one place to one place, it would take 2 days or 3 days. When it comes to this melting of ice created within 1 being disturbed, and this is the northern sea route. So because of these trade routes, it is easy for Canada to have inland waterways. After this, we will understand what is the role of India in this geopolitical hotspot. So rising power struggles, as I said before, territorial claims, and the major countries like Russia, Canada, Denmark, Norway, USA, and they are claiming for territorial claims and military buildups. So as I said before, Russia bases versus NATO bases. Russia not only have these current scenarios, and when it is the Soviet Union, it flags its nation in 2009 itself. So the military bases in Russia is not from the current geopolitical arena. It is from the past itself only. There is NATO patrols and China's near Arctic Sea. So China is not a member of US Council, and as well as it is not a member of. How can I show that? As you see here, China is claiming that it is a near Arctic state. China is not a member of Arctic Council as well as UNCLOS, and which we will discuss in further. So UNCLOS, as you see here, I will explain a brief about what is UNCLOS. UNCLOS is nothing but a legal framework that has been established for Arctic region. So what is this UNCLOS? As you see here, it stands for United Nations Convention of Laws on Sea. So this UNCLOS also has disputes on seabed resources. Currently, according to, so we will see in the further slides what is this legal frameworks, what are the legal frameworks there for UNCLOS. So let us understand. See, so this is UNCLOS, United Nations Convention on Law of Sea. It is a legal framework. Okay, this UNCLOS is a legal framework which says that it resolves disputes and it promotes cooperation and sustainable development in the member countries. So the convention introduced a number of provisions. The most significant issues covered were setting limits, navigation and status and security transits also. So this UNCLOS says that whichever the country claiming for seabed more than its exclusively economic zones. So for example, if there is a country which its exclusively economic zone is up to 200 nautical miles from its geographical heritage, right? As we know this part. So if the country's continental shelf goes beyond 200 nautical miles of exclusively economic zones, the countries can claim for the benefit, or the countries can claim for the seabed of the region, according to this UN Convention Law of Seas. So further, we will understand what is the role of India. So why India should keep? So there are tensions happening around the world, there could be clashes, there could be disturbances that are happening. So why India should care? So the perfect reason is that energy security, climate change, shipping routes, scientific research, strategic partnership. When it comes to energy security, India has its research center in Arctic region. And climate change. Due to melting of ice in the Arctic region leading to increase in the sea levels and increase in sea levels. Also, you know the concept in geography, jet streams. Yeah, right? So impact on monsoons and sea levels, and jet streams also impacted, and weather patterns weather patterns also impacted, and circulations in atmosphere also impacted because of melting of ice and climate change. The major reason is that sea levels also increases. As you increase the sea levels, there could be increase in acidification of oceans. So this could be the current scenario. And there is the shipping routes, faster and cheaper routes. As I said before, because of these new trade routes, it is becoming shorter, and scientific research of India also has its Himadri. As I said before, Himadri is a research center that has been established in Norway as a permanent research center. And there is a strategic partnership that has been done in the Arctic nations with Arctic region nations. So, strategic partnership. So, India is an observer in Arctic Council. So, when we study about Arctic region, many of the people understand about what is this, don't know, understand about what is this Arctic Council. So, this is a council where this council actually established it because to resolve disputes that are happening in the Arctic region and to promote cooperation, sustainable development in that region. And India is a member, it's not a member, India is not a member, India is just an observer. So what is happening a lot? And there are 8 member countries in this council. So further, we'll understand what are the challenges that are arising. So as I move forward. So key challenges in Arctic region. So when it comes to this topic, the topic is about the Arctic region is becoming a geopolitical hotspot, right? So what would be the key challenges in the Arctic region? So as I said before, it's a climate degradation that is happening, biodiversity loss. So the flora and fauna affected in this region, like polar bears and everything. So climate degradation, as said before, weather patterns and atmosphere circulations and increase in acidification. So there are other key challenges that we can discuss, like we have discussed about climate change and navigation hazards and environmental risk and risk of militarization and conflict. As you see before, if it is this in the Arctic region, here the presence of USA, here the presence of Russia and the NATO countries. So all these countries establishing its military bases in Arctic region, which creating tensions and conflicts has been arising. So weaker governments, as you see, so the council, the Arctic Council only include of 8 members, 8 member countries. So there is a chance of weak governments in these regions and the balancing development and indigenous rights. After these 3 challenges, let us understand the way forward. How could we conclude the topic? Navigating the future is nothing but a way forward. So what would be the way forward? Strengthening Arctic governance via cooperation. So, for strengthening Arctic Council, increase the member countries in council and strengthening, and also strengthening the UNCLOS, which we discussed before. So by strengthening this, we can strengthen the Arctic governance actually. So promoting peaceful scientific collaborations. So without any armed revolutions and everything, with having a peaceful scientific collaboration is actually helpful for both sustainable development and increase in resource utilization. So India is to enhance its Arctic policy. As I said before, India is also having a role in Arctic region, which is Arctic policy, which is nothing but Arctic policy. So let us understand what is this policy. So this policy is nothing but where, according to this policy, it has a provisions for disturbances resolvement and everything. So India to enhance Arctic policy. So as I said before, India is a part of Arctic region and it has Arctic policy. According to this policy, it states that it is the duty to have sustainable development and cooperation with other countries which promote sustainable development in this region and advocate for climate action globally. So it could be another way forward to advocating for climate actions. So we should note that it is important to understand the climate change. So it is very important to understand the climate change. So because of this climate change, melting of ice happened. So because of melting of ice, new trade routes and geopolitical tensions, and finally Arctic region becoming as a geopolitical concept. So it is very important to understand how this climate change affected the politics, how this climate change will affect the environment also and economy. So due to this climate change, there is a presence of all these political pressures and political tensions and global powers. So as I said before, the presence of global powers lead to further conflict also. So it is very important to us to understand what is the current scenarios, and we will conclude this topic. This is the final thoughts, and you can understand this is the conclusion. The Arctic is the strategic frontier, geopolitical tensions, risk global stability. India must stay engaged and proactive. A peaceful and sustainable Arctic benefits for all. So, as I said, it is a strategic frontier for both global powers like Russia and USA, China, and NATO countries. Geopolitical tensions because of new trade routes, because of resources. As I said before, the resources are under the seabed. So under the seabed. So resources like phosphate, copper, and rare earth metals. Rare earth elements are also present. So because of all these things, there could be in future geopolitical tensions and risk for global stability. It could go like Cold War and everything. India must stay engaged and proactive. Being an observer, India should take a stand on Arctic disputes. A peaceful and sustainable Arctic benefits for all. So this is a topic about geopolitical tensions that are arising in Arctic region. So it is very important to us to understand why this region is being important, and it is very important to understand how the current affair topics are really important for the preparation. So I hope guys this video could be more beneficial to all. So thank you for watching.